Hello, my name is Ana Doak and welcome to Nanay Anay. Today's video, we wanted to share to you guys about 10 things you need to know before marrying a Filipina. My name is Ana, and this is my husband, Alexander Doak.
Hello.
We are a Filipino-American couple who have 10 children, and we've been living here in the Philippines for almost 8 years now. And then if you wanted to know more about our family here in the Philippines, hit that subscribe button, guys. And also hit that notification bell so you'll get updated whenever we post videos. We post video every Wednesday and Saturday, 6 p.m. Manila time. Today's video, we wanted to share to you guys about 10 things you need to know before marrying a Filipina. So, my husband here, Alexander Doak, is going to share his experience. And so, I want to make first a disclaimer. First, Alex and I, we've known each other for 18 years. And we've been married for 15 years. So, I lived in the US for 8 years. And, within that duration of 15 years of being married, I lived in the US for 8 years. And then we moved here in the Philippines we moved to the Philippines and we've been living here for almost also 8 years. So I just want to make it clear that his perspective will be, him living in the US, it's being exposed to Filipinos, and then his experience with Filipinos here in the Philippines. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does.
He will have a perspective on, living in both countries. And then,
right.
And then we come up with this.
Yeah, so like she said, I had experience living with a Filipina in the US and here in the Philippines. Yes, so there's several topics we've prepared, and they're in no particular order. But the first one we have on our list is, you will support her family. So that's one big cultural difference in the Philippines. There's an expectation that cousins, brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, grandmothers, grandfathers, everyone expects to get money from you, and she will be socially ridiculed to varying degrees if that doesn't actually happen. So there's strong social pressure she feels from the people she knows in the Philippines to support them financially. So that's a big switch. In the US, families are typically expected to be financially independent. And yes, you may have, some times where you borrow or you gift or you loan, but it's not a daily, monthly, we're paying for all of your living expenses in perpetuity. But that's how it is in the Philippines, is just if somebody graduates from college or happens to get a good job, they're expected to provide for not only their immediate family, but their parents and grandparents and all of their siblings as well. So it's very different culturally as far as family support.
Yeah, it's like a culture thing. I felt like children are the retirement plan of the parents.
Yeah. In the Philippines, that's not a joke.
Yeah,
In the US, it's a joke. I say, I have 10 children, that's my retirement plan, ha ha ha.
Yeah.
It's not a joke in the Philippines.
That's true.
Reality.
Yes.
Parents very much stop working and just live off the earnings of their children.
Yeah.
From a very young age, right? In some cases.
Yeah.
Not every case, there's exceptions, of course.
Yes, yeah. It's very common over here that you would find families that are, dependent on the income of whoever is the financially stable within that whole clan. And well, the thing there is, when Alex and I got engaged, I really brought that up to him the day after we got engaged. I told him straightforward that I am expected to help my brother, finish college, and that was just like the setup in our culture. And then he agreed that we will help my brother, but then I know also that helping my brother up until he's done with his college degree. when my brother was done with college, that's it, done. You know, we didn't, up to now we're not supporting him. You know, even also my father, I'm not also supporting my father. But the expectation, you know, my father is really expecting me to really financially support him. I mean, that's just the thing, yeah.
And so typically Americans and Westerners will push back on that and expect individuals to provide for themselves,
Yeah.
to work, to be productive in some capacity. And that's not always the case over here.
And then another thing also, like back when we were still living in the US, I remember most of my friends would really, that was like, especially those Filipinas who just got into who just arrived in the US, and then they thought that it was okay with their husbands that they are actually like giving money, that they will be giving money or sending money to their family here in the Philippines. And then they found out that their husband is not actually okay with that stuff, because again, it's not the culture, it's not an American culture that they will be supporting the parents. And so that's like, wow, that's like a big culture shock to a Filipina who moved to the US. So I've always, in most cases, Filipina will end up working. You know, they will end up working so then they can send money to the Philippines, to their family in the Philippines. And then for those who are not able to work, I would just tell them that you just really need to set the limitation. You know, you have to understand also where your husband is coming from. And I've also learned that, you know, sending money to the Philippines to help your nieces, your nephews is not actually helping them. Next.
So the next one is driving. So driving in the US, everyone learns to drive. When you're 17, 18 years old, even younger sometimes, you'll take your driving courses, your driving lessons, get a temporary driver's license, and you'll start driving, because you can't get anywhere in the US in most places without traveling in a car.
Yeah.
So it's very, very common. However, in the Philippines, there is a much more, I'd say, robust public transportation system. Well, it's more of a private public transportation system. There's so many tricycle drivers, you know, motorcycles, jeepneys, a lot of different really small little individual, you know, kind of independent owners of these little public transportation things. It's not provided by the city per se. It might be regulated by the city, but there's these options for people to travel around within their city or even to other cities without having to learn how to drive. And it's all very affordable and accessible to the local populace. So
They need to drive.
Your wife probably won't know how to drive. She might not even know how to ride a bicycle or a motorcycle. And so it's a big deal to learn how to do those things.
Yes.
So it's something you need to think about as well. And it's better to learn those sooner than later, right? If she has the opportunity, get her up to speed on that. Anything you want to add on that?
Yeah, you know, when I moved to the US, I have no freaking clue how to drive. I mean, no, I have an experience a little bit, but not as like but I know how to drive now, so I can move. I mean,
well, you know how to ride a bicycle and you know how to drive a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Well, an automatic scooter, you don't know how to drive a motorcycle with gear shifting and clutches.
Yeah. No.
So we still have to teach you that.
Yeah, but the idea there is I'm independent. Just kidding. I can go around by myself, you know.
Next.
Anyway.
Tempo.
Tampurorot. What's tampo, Tay?
Tempo is a state which the wife will assume when she is upset. She will go tempo. And what that means, and we don't typically describe that as such. Like, I don't say to her, oh, you're tempo, and she doesn't say to me, I'm going tempo. It just happens when she stops talking. So if she's upset, she'll just cut off all communication, and she'll be like that for hours. If it's really bad, maybe a day or two, she'll be in this, I'm just not gonna talk to him ever again. And yeah, so it lasts for an indeterminate amount of time, and there's really no communication that occurs. You just have to kind of guess at why she's upset, but you know, the idea there is that you should know why she's upset at that point, right?
But do I still do that? I know in the beginning of our marriage I did that a lot, but do I still do that a lot?
Not a lot, and it's pretty short when you do it. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a common thing of the Filipino, I think Filipino ladies, Filipina, that we are very much into tampo,
When they get angry, they don't necessarily resolve it right away.
Yes.
It can last for hours or days.
Yeah, and I feel like we expect the guy, we expect our husband to read our thoughts and then that they already know what we're gonna say. But anyway, that's it.
And usually there's only a handful of things it could be, so I just start guessing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, babe, but that's, yeah. Anyway, number 4.
MLM, multi-level marketing. Everybody is involved in an MLM. It's kind of like...
Yeah, even back in the US or Philippines.
Yeah, it doesn't
right?
matter where they are. If they're in the US, they're in an MLM. If they're in the Philippines, they're in an MLM.
Yes.
It's very, very popular.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when Alex and I first got married, we were invited to a lunch, at Filipina's house. And then Alex took off work, just in those, instead of working during that lunch hours, he picked me up at our apartment and we drove to my friend's house. Only
I had
to
about
find
an hour
out,
for lunch.
yes,
I think.
but only to find out it was a salad master presentation.
So it lasted about 90 minutes, the presentation. Then I had to leave.
Yeah.
I stayed over a half hour. I left without eating anything at all, and I just had to skip lunch that day, and I went right back to work. So that was a pretty unpleasant experience. An introduction to the Filipino MLM
The beginning.
mindset. Yeah. The beginning, but...
Yeah, and then after that, I was already aware, oh my goodness, yeah, it's true. We would invite people over and then, presenting in such a good, in such a nice way that we thought we are invited because they care for us, So we would show up and only to find out it's either it's a multi-level marketing presentation or it's an insurance policy presentation, and it's just or it's like a business opportunity presentation, and it's just like that, even when we moved back here in the Philippines, it's the same, And I'm not into MLM anymore, I used to be, even, I remember when Alex and I were still engaged, I was living in Iligan for doing my thesis, and then I was invited to an essential oil, a multi-level marketing thing. I forgot the name of the Bel Air oil, I forgot. But anyway, so I called Alex and I said, hey, I wanted to start a business. I wanted to start a business because I wanted to help you financially. That was my mindset, And at that time, I didn't know how much money he's making. Yeah, he was making good money at that time. I didn't really know his income, But anyway, the point there is even in the beginning of our relationship, there was some kind of an involvement of an MLM, and I didn't realize that up until later that MLM is really almost part of the Philippine culture. Right, Ty?
Yeah. It's a cultural thing. So, you can push back hard on it if you want, or you can just set budgets. Hey, this is how much we're going to spend each month, and, just chalk it up to, life expenses. You just got to spend X amount of money each month on this MLM thing, and,
But we did doTERRA, and I really liked the product, We stayed with them for a very long time. And I still like doTERRA. People still call me because of, doTERRA essential oils.
Try to find one that you actually like the product for, and then it won't be so painful when you're just flushing money away.
Yeah, flushing. Anyway, next.
Oh, rice
Number
in
5.
everything.
Rice in everything.
Yes, every dish has to have rice. You don't consider it a meal unless you have a full serving of rice. White rice. It has to be white rice. It can't be brown rice.
But I have a story about that. I have to say my speech about that. When I first moved to the US, it started immediately brown rice. Okay.
It's healthier. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I think I just want to make a disclaimer about that. But in our family here at home, we don't eat rice all the time. We don't. We just don't. But if you are an expat, if you are a Westerner who is planning on marrying a Filipina, prepare to buy a rice cooker the first time she arrives there. Because if there's no rice cooker, like what he said, if there's no rice in a meal,
starve to death.
if there's no rice, it's not considered a meal. And I'm not joking about rice in everything. Appetizer, rice. The main dish has to have rice, and then your dessert could also be rice.
Yes.
Stick rice, you know. And that's like a thing. Yeah, it's really like a rice in everything. Rice cooker. Rice is life for a Filipina.
Yes.
Next.
Pointing using their lips. You do it. I can't do it.
Tatay, can you please get that?
Yeah.
But do I still do that a lot?
No. I mean, you give very poor indications of where things are located in other ways.
Yeah, or...
Oh, like the brown purse. It's on the table. You know? It's in the room. It's right there.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yep. Anyway.
I think it's sometimes hard to get really specific
About... Yeah.
with where things are located in your second language. You know what I mean?
True. Yep, true.
it's-
Like, you know, especially with all the, you know, the words, like the difference between on, in, at, you know, like it's so hard to, I mean, that's, again, English is not our native language. So to use those different things that we didn't know that there's actually a big difference between the usage of in, on, or at, you know. So yeah, even those words, I'm just, you know, even those three words, there's already like a difference. You will relay a different message to your husband if you use those three words interchangeably.
Yeah, interchangeably.
Yeah, interchangeably. Anyway, so yeah. So
Pointing with your lips. Okay.
Pointing with your lips. Next.
Experience living abroad matters. So,
Yeah.
if possible, it'll really be helpful for not only for your wife, but for you as well, if you could live in the culture of your spouse for months, if not years, right? Just visiting for a couple weeks isn't the same. It really helps to be able to live there for a month or two or three. If she can see how other people live, other than her spouse, it adds more credibility to what you're trying to say in terms of counterculture living habits. Like in the Philippines, for example, the floors are always being swept, just constantly cleaned. The floors are always really clean. The ceiling might be filthy, the walls are falling apart, it doesn't matter. What matters is the floor. So you'll see a lot of obsession with taking your shoes off and keeping the floor clean, you know, with a Filipino wife. And vice versa, Americans, you know, would, for example, keep your shoes on all the time when you're in most homes. You know, things like that.
Yeah, like, you know, it really matters, you know, like, again, in our relationship, I've experienced living in the US and then we moved back here in the Philippines. So I know I can easily understand what he's saying, what he's trying to communicate to me, and then he's also able to understand what I'm also trying to communicate to him, you know, like back in the US, when the first time I arrived there, I was so afraid to use the vacuum cleaner at our apartment because I was so afraid that with the whole place, the whole apartment complex will explode. And then Alex did not really understand that up until we moved here in the Philippines, when Alex saw all the electrical wiring, how the electricity is being wired over here in the Philippines. And then you would be constantly get constantly get shocked, you know, with the, you know, if you plug in something in the outlet. And then yeah, it's true. So now I feel like my concern at that time became legit.
And I got to see what the electrical systems are like in the Philippines.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
very different than those in the US. So.
Yeah. So, you know, just like an example.
Yeah,
so,
go out of your way if you can to get her in your culture living there and make sure she gets into other people's homes and see, oh wow, they're using a microwave. Okay, I see that. That's a thing. oh, they actually have a toilet that flushes. Wow, that's neat. I want one too, right? And she'll sympathize with you, you know, pushing towards like water pressure systems. In the Philippines, you don't have water pressure normally. It just comes and goes. It's kind of random. You'll have a couple hours a day where you don't have water. And so you might want to invest in a water pressure system, so it can be like in the US where you do have water pressure.
Yeah, and another thing also is like there's hot water. Always there's a running hot water in the US. And here in the Philippines, no. It's always like
all cold water all the time.
All the time. So
you might get a unit for your shower, a hot water shower unit that sucks a huge amount of electricity and just heats it up on demand, right there at the spigot. But in the US, you have whole home hot water systems.
Yeah, to do the laundry. Yeah, to do the laundry, to do the dishwashing. You know, you can run your dishwasher in hot water. That's very common over here. But when we moved here, you know, but over here in the Philippines, that's not common at all. So
So she might have a hard time understanding why it's so important for you to have hot water if she's never lived that way. But if she's seen that and seen the utility of it, then she might be more willing to invest, you know, and understand the importance of that. We don't have hot water here in our home, but we might in our next.
Yes, that's true. But another thing also, like in the US, hot water is really like a need, especially in Wisconsin, you know, where he was from. We lived there for 3 years before we moved to Nashville. Like, can you imagine taking a cold shower in the winter?
Wim Hof, huh? There you go.
So that's why there's hot. But over here, the climate, it's tropical country, so it's almost like you really don't need hot water. But anyway, that's different. Next, number 8.
Well, we have it down as perpetual holidays, but in our home, it's the birthdays. We don't skip birthdays. Every birthday needs to be celebrated like grandiose ways, right? So, and it's not just the immediate family members. Now, for us, it is, but for most Filipinos, if your cousin is having a birthday, you take a day off of work.
Or if somebody in the family,
cousins, you're taking 30 days off of work each year.
Or
if
they
literally do stuff like that.
Or if somebody pass a board exam, that is like your aunt pass your aunt pass a board exam, you know, like a second degree aunt. You know, you will be, how can I take off work? But in like what Alex was trying to say, like even back in the US, every birthday is such a big deal, you know. Like he might think we have a grandiose birthday, but if not really, like you've been to other people's birthday here, they would go to they would like host they would do it at a restaurant, like really like close the restaurant, and they will have a event, like an occasion, okay? Like over here we call it I feel like, okay, this is in the American culture, it's called a party. Whether you're just eating a dinner, that's considered a party. But over here, party means an occasion. Like there's really like balloons all over the place. There's like even like hiring a magician, you know, that's like a thing. Or like and even back in the US, with my Filipino friends, the birthdays of their children are always like very big. You know, where
there are birthday parties in the US, but typically they're scheduled in such a way to not interrupt the workday. You'll go for a dinner and you'll spend 2 or 3 hours there tops, so, you know, maybe 4 hours, and then go home. And it can happen during the week, right? And it doesn't interrupt your workday. Or then maybe on the weekends if it's going to be a larger affair with more activities. But in the Philippines, it's common for birthdays to interrupt work schedules.
Yes. Okay, number 9.
Be prepared to try new food. Yes. Well, at least my wife is always pressuring me to try new things. I don't know if every Filipina is like that, but it definitely is to your advantage to be a little bit adventurous when it comes to your culinary tastes. Go ahead, expand your horizons and try some new stuff. And she's very sensitive. I found she's very sensitive to my preferences. Sometimes too much so. Like if she feeds me a food that I want to eat because I know it's healthy, maybe it's affordable, maybe it's readily available. You know, there's some reason I want to begin eating it more often. even if I don't like it. Like it's not a chocolate cake or something, you know, I'm not gonna like salivate over it, or maybe I'll eat a moderate portion. She'll take that personally, right? And then she won't make it again. So you got to be careful about how you describe, you know, the foods that they prepare.
I'm really...
And eat a lot. They'll keep on throwing food at you, and no matter what it is, you're expected to eat it until you puke. I don't know how to stop, but you know.
Well, that is true. You know, if you're marrying like for those Westerners who are planning on visiting the Philippines, and then you will be invited to a party, please expect that people were gonna show you, were gonna really like offer you food, and then when they say offer you food, you can't say no.
Is it okay to leave food on your plate?
That's the thing. Yes, it's okay to leave food in your plate.
In the U.S., it's not okay.
Yeah.
Like if you put plate on your food, you better eat it. You can't leave it there.
Yeah.
But I guess over here, they just keep on heaping down your plate.
Yeah, that's
the
thing.
You're expected to just leave it at some point.
Well, yeah, if you get, like the thing there is like, you are expected to eat the food, but at the same time, it's okay that there's leftover in the food. I mean, in your plate.
Because every time we invite people over here, they're throwing away plates and plates of food, right?
Oh, that's a big deal for me. And I've learned my lesson with that. Like, if ever I invite people, I would really tell them straight up front, you know, that's really very forward of me to really tell them, do not waste the food.
That's a countercultural thing that she's learned to do.
And I would really, the thing there is, a lot of Filipinos would fill up their food because they're embarrassed to come back again to get a second plate. And I would tell them straight from, it's okay to come back, you know, to get a second plate, you know, as long as if you, because I would tell them, I really like it when you eat my food, you know, and if you want to come back more, I would love that, but I would be upset if I would see my food in the trash, you know, I would communicate that. But that's just like, you know, the thing, if you, let's go back to the topic. If you are a Westerner who want to move to who wanted to hook up with the Filipina, expect that if you visit the family, they will force you to eat like really crazy food, like balot. Yeah, because again, it's so yummy for us. So we think that you would also like it, you know. But yeah.
Sometimes they do. Sometimes they are. It's really good food over here. They really are very well known for their food.
Yes.
Last but not least, jealousy. Yes. Filipinos are fiercely jealous.
Yeah, but am I jealous?
Oh yes, terribly so. Less so now, but you were initially, very much so.
Less so now. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, way back then, I think there was like and you know what, it's really like part of the culture here that jealousy is kind of like expected, you know, but
it comes across as insecurity to me.
Yeah, I felt like, you know, like he might think I'm really jealous, but actually if he is not exposed to other couples, you know, what jealousy really is, you know, with other couples, yeah, but not anymore. Like it's really more on the idea that if you are not busy, you know, if you are just like alone doing nothing, then you would think those negative thoughts, you know. But actually, if you do things, you know, at home, like other things, like for me, you know, back then taking good care of the children, then you would think less about that kind of stuff,
cake
you know.
Decorating, sewing.
Yeah. So
quilting.
he got me. Oh, what's that? He got me into those, you know, to those hobbies, you know, and I really appreciate that.
You got yourself into those hobbies.
No, but you introduced the cake. I mean, you wanted me to do cake decorating.
Well, you wanted to do it, so I was like, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, you were you were supportive about the things that I wanted to do. That's it. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoy and watching this video, and I hope you learn new, you know, like to those, especially to those Westerners who are planning on going here to the Philippines and hooking up with a Filipina. Yeah, I hope these tips would help you, you know, get to know the Philippine culture first before really getting into and marrying a wife, a Filipino wife. Yeah.
And everything we just said is probably going to be radically different for you.
Yes.
That's one thing that I found with listening to different people talk about the Philippines and Filipinos.
I've
read books.
Yes.
And it was
and
like,
also the website,
and you-
asawa.com.
and you talk to people who are living over here. I don't think that website exists anymore.
Oh, okay.
But you talk to people who are living over here, and they tell you things, and then you come over here,
Yeah,
and you find out that whatever they said is just radically
different.
inaccurate. You know, it
Yes.
might be true for where they're living,
Yeah.
but it's really heavily dependent on you, on your own mental state, right?
Yes,
so
yes,
it's
yes.
really heavily dependent on you and your own mental state.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so what else I wanted to say? What else do I want? Yeah, yeah, with Alex also, another thing also that's really common was like, you know, the language barrier. Like I felt like Alex didn't have really much trouble communicating in English because I could speak English well.
Yeah, well, that's why we got together, is because I could communicate with you.
Anyway, guys, so thank you so much for watching our video for today. I hope you enjoy it and I hope you learned something new. So like what I said in the beginning, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you get updated of our family here in the Philippines. Yeah, so thank you so much, guys. Bye-bye. I love you. Mwah.